With the bulk of the Datsun 620 repairs complete, I take my first trip to a Thai scrapyard, as well as taking a closer look at how much all these repairs have cost me. After the impressive feat of rebuilding the head, front suspension and steering in just 3 days, the Datsun was pretty much ready to head to Laos. But with the engine now running well, we noticed that it is running slightly hotter than it should. The cause of this was the radiator. Before we carried out the repairs, oil had been getting into the coolant.
Don't look too good.
The radiator was now clogged up and therefore not working as well as it should. To clean it properly, we decided to take it to the radiator shop, who would take the end tanks off, thoroughly clean the core before resoldering them back on. Dropping it off in the morning, this would be ready to collect that afternoon. While waiting for this, we headed back to Bonds. After letting out his Buffalo to graze, we put a spare radiator on the Datsun and dropped it off at the alignment shop. Instead of waiting for it here, I went back to see if I could help with some of the other cars that they had in the workshop. There was another 620 in, which had recently had a full respray. It was now having all the mechanicals sorted out, the owner going for a more traditional look, with steel wheels. This 620 has vents on the cab pillars, which means it's a 1300cc model. Like mine, this one is also getting a head rebuild. Boone's Toyota Corolla was also here, which had joined us on the camping trip. It was having trouble with the brakes and needed a new brake booster. This Corolla is a lot rarer in Thailand than my 620, so getting spare parts is not as easy. So to get it back on the road then, the best option would be to try and find a similar booster from a different model. So we jumped in Teek's Subaru Leone and headed to the scrapyard to see what we could find.
Let's go, looking.
There was a lot of cars here, and so it didn't take us long to find a more modern Toyota with a similar brake booster, which would do the job. So while the yard workers took it off the car, we went to see if they had any scrap Datsuns. We soon found this cool Volvo, which had a Toyota 2JZ fitted. I've seen quite a few old Volvos driving around Thailand, surprisingly, and also quite a few cars with a 2JZ engine swap. We couldn't find any Datsuns, but did find a Nissan Big M, or a Navara as it's known outside of Thailand. We also found a Datsun J engine, which also had an AC pump.
And it come with a plate for the registration?
Yeah,
Yeah, so when you register at the thing.
When you buy an engine in a scrapyard, it comes with a car's blue book. This is needed for when you register the new engine in the car. I couldn't find an SR20, the engine I'd like to fit in my Datsun, but I did find another 2JZ.
How much for this, do you think?
This command
20,000 baht.
Not too bad, as it came with the ECU and all ancillaries. The turbo version though would cost a lot more, with the 2JZ turbo costing nearly 200,000 baht. However, a 1JZ turbo can be found for around 40,000. After the scrapyard, it was time to collect the radiator. So we took Bond's RZ1 to go pick it up. It's fortunate that we had taken the radiator in, as the radiator guy also found a small hole, which he had soldered up. We also picked up the truck from the alignment shop. With fitting the repaired radiator the final job, it's time to take a look at how much all this had cost. Starting with the head rebuild. The head needed a complete set of new intake and exhaust valves. These then required new seats, guides and seals. The head was then skimmed, the valves lapped and the whole head reassembled. The total cost of this was 6,090 baht, with nearly half of this cost being the new valves. Next though was the suspension and steering, as well as all the other miscellaneous repairs we carried out. We'd started out these repairs expecting to just replace the bushes on the suspension. However, when we got a closer look, the bushes had worn right through and damaged the arms beyond repair. So, in the end, we needed to replace both upper arms, the passenger side lower arm and the passenger side hub assembly. The front roll bar was also missing for some reason, so we needed a new one of those. With all this replaced with new bushes, we then moved on to the steering. Rebuilding the steering box using second-hand parts and installing a brand new idler arm. We then replaced the front brake cylinders and also replaced quite a few other parts to get the truck running perfectly. As you can see, we used a lot of parts, which added up. And the very long days we put in meant we had nearly 100 man hours into these repairs. So in the end, the labour came to 6,500 baht and parts to over 12,000, giving a total of 19,260 baht. It was a lot more than I planned on spending. But considering the amount of work we'd done, I thought it was pretty cheap. In the UK, I could probably only get the front hub replaced for this price, with the full repairs easily costing thousands. I could also rest a bit easier knowing that the Datsun was now finally mechanically sound. Before, I'd been on borrowed time, but these repairs had given the Datsun a new lease of life, and it was ready for me to take it up a notch and head to Laos.